Welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Thursday. By the way, coming up, hour number 3, Dirty Dining segment with Darcy Spears from Channel 13. We'll also catch up with Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. And a reminder, we are broadcasting not only live on 101.5 FM at 720 AM KDON, but also live on YouTube. All you got to do is go on YouTube and type in the Vegas Take page. You will see our beautiful faces, JD and myself. Check us out on YouTube every day live on the Vegas Take YouTube page. So we've covered and we've talked a lot about Jussie Smollett, but it's been a little while since we got there, and I was irate, as many of you should have been, when it came to the fact that Jussie Smollett got off easy. I think he had to pay like a $1,000 fine or something, and that was it. It was done. And if you don't recall the story, it's a story of him in Chicago. He claimed he was attacked by 2 people that were yelling MAGA country, put a rope around his neck. He claimed that it was a hate crime, but it turned out the evidence was overwhelming that he staged the crime himself with 2 of his friends that I guess helped him work out, like workout friends or something. He blatantly made it up. This is a serious crime. As serious as hate crimes are, to me this is just as bad because it lowers the credibility of others that are actual victims of hate crimes. So I was very consistent on the fact that Jussie Smollett should have spent some time behind bars. Should he have gone to jail for 20 years? No. But I think he deserved at least a year behind bars to think about what he did. He's an African-American homosexual who wants to play the victim card, and what he was trying to do, instead of actually talking about the real issues of people that, are minorities and homosexuals, he made it worse for them by what he did. Now, he got off. I thought that was completely wrong. It was ridiculous. I don't think this man should ever act for a very long time.
Well, I thought what he did should have been considered a terroristic act or an attempted terroristic act because let's say that, for example, this had been true, that this had actually happened to Jussie Smollett, there would have been public outcry, especially in Chicago. I think riots would have taken place, and that's because Jussie Smollett was trying to divide the country racially and in the process turn himself into some sort of a murder.
Well, I agree, and that's why I'm saying that if he got some jail time, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. I mean, we're on the same page here, but here's what's happening now, and I'm very happy to hear this. They're going after him, and rightfully so they should. Thank God. So on Tuesday, Jussie Smollett was indicted by a special prosecutor in the case of the former Empire star. The move is by special prosecutor Dan Webb. It'll find Smollett back in court in the Windy City on February 24th. He's going to be facing new criminal charges and potential jail time, in this covered event. So it's getting worse for him now. So he was indicted on 6 counts of disorderly conduct by the Cook County grand jury over falsely reporting the assault. So this is what Webb had to say. He said, he didn't say a lot, but he said, further prosecution of Jussie Smollett is in the interest of justice. And the Osundaro brothers are the 2 brothers that helped stage this thing. Apparently,
that he paid money to.
They're aware of the new charges brought against Smollett by the grand jury, and this is. I think Smollett's going to get the hammer put on him because this is a very public story now. There is no question that the prosecutor in this case that recused herself, there were shenanigans going on behind the scenes. My understanding, and I can't wait to hear all this evidence. The evidence is overwhelming that this bastard decided to, and by the way, make no mistake about it, this wasn't about African Americans. This wasn't about homosexuals. This was about one person and one person only, Jussie Smollett. Why? Because he wasn't happy with the way he was being treated on Empire. He wanted to get a higher profile. In fact, this guy's such a nut job. Before he staged this whole thing, remember, JD, when he had the mail sent to him? He had like hate mail sent to him, that didn't work, right? Nobody really cared. So then after that, he stages this thing.
Jussie Smollett is a sociopath, clear cut. There's no question about it. And you're right, he did want to make a name for himself so that he could garner or he could command a higher salary, or he could be included in more movies, where he could be the African American homosexual who was so wrongly treated by these Caucasian males at in minus 13-degree weather in downtown Chicago at 2:00 in the morning, who apparently put a noose around his neck. I mean, if you really think about this, and then he just lies about everything. Think about the actual details of this case. Terroristic act, absolutely. This guy should see 5 to 10 years, in my opinion, and never be able to act in any movies ever again.
I'll tell you something. Wouldn't feel bad for him. And if he got what you said, I don't know if I agree with that whole totally. I don't know if I would put this guy in jail for 10 years.
Think of how bad. What if that had actually? What if everyone assumed that and this never came out, and everyone assumed that this actually happened to him?
Listen, what I'm not going to do though, JD, is I'm not going to fault people who thought it really happened, and that Kamala Harris took a lot of flack.
She did.
Listen. Let's be honest. Hold on. Let's be honest here.
Kamala Harris
JD,
and a couple other Twitter personalities with major profiles.
I understand, but JD, when you hear of something like this happening, the first thing that enters your mind is, "Oh my God!" I'm talking about myself too. Oh my God, this is awful.
Right.
This poor guy.
Right. Poor Jussie.
I'm not immediately thinking, "Oh my God, he staged this." I felt so horrible for the guy, so I'm not gonna go after some people that were on his side. Now they're not on his side, obviously.
Well, how could they be?
If they're still on his side, then I have a serious problem with that. Look, I don't know if this guy deserves 10 years. I think it's a little harsh. But let's put it this way. He deserves some jail time. And I will not be satisfied, and we all should not be satisfied, unless he gets some. Now, even if it's only 6 months, I want this guy behind bars. He forever should be tarnished. And here's what I want from him. I want him to apologize. He has never owned up to anything because he's a liar and he's a fraud. I want him to be in front of the judge. And by the way, JD, this day's coming. He is going to be sentenced, in my personal opinion. And he is going to have to speak in front of that judge. And if he decides to speak, he's going to have to own up and apologize, and I cannot wait for that day until he is out of that courtroom in shackles because he deserves it.
I think he will just plead guilty and not go deep into detail, but this is one of those situations where a guy like this who just is clearly mentally deranged, he could commit suicide. It would not surprise me at all.
Dude, here's what I think, and I'm speculating here. That's what we do. I think some traumatic things had to happen to him in his life. This is just not normal behavior.
But does that justify?
Absolutely not. I'm not saying it does.
Trying to paint yourself as a victim, as a homosexual and a minority for the sole purpose of raising your profile, and in the process attempting to divide the country.
Absolutely not.
Of course not. Especially with how in depth he went with the details.
And by the way,
that were over 150% totally fabricated.
And by the way, a lot of people on the left, like Don Lemon, who apparently talks to Jussie Smollett on a regular basis, have not been hard enough on Smollett. Well, it's not fine. It's not fine. Don Lemon should be able to go on television and say it like it. That's why I lose respect for guys like that. As you know, a lot of people on the left have been supportive of Jussie Smollett, and I'm not on the left. Since we learned that this was fabricated, I've said this guy should go away. Now, 10 years? No.
You don't think it's fine that Don Lemon talks to Jussie Smollett on the regular?
I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with his coverage of Jussie Smollett. He hasn't been harsh enough. Listen, you could be a friend of Jussie Smollett's. That's fine. But you have a duty when you're in the media. Yes, you can have opinions, but the facts overweigh anything here. And the fact is that Jussie Smollett staged this whole thing. The fact is that he is a liar, he is a scumbag, and he hurts the real people that are victims of hate crimes, which I have a lot of passion for that.
Right. He's a sociopath who only cares about himself.
No question. And that needs to change. I'm telling you, JD, the day's going to come. He's going to be forced to apologize.
I think we're going to find out. Kim Fox, who's the prosecutor in that.
She's so corrupt.
Well, apparently she has some connections to Michelle Obama. So we'll see.
We need to find out about
if there's anything related with that.
Make no mistake about it. This guy Webb, from what I've heard, is a very good prosecutor. He is digging up dirt, and the fact that they have 6 charges now on Smollett, I think there's a very good chance he gets jail time. Here's what I think is going to happen, though. I think he's going to be on probation. I think he's going to have to pay back a lot of money. I think he's going to be forced to apologize. And I don't know if he's going to get any jail time. I would say probably not.
But he's still ostracized from the homosexual community and the African American community and the movie and the movie business, the film industry for the rest of his life. Yeah. And he was making money. He was making probably $20,000 an episode, probably $500,000 a year. But living in Chicago, which he clearly did, that's a good living. But he's not independently wealthy. He's going to have a hard time doing anything for the rest of his life.
Your thoughts on this? 702-257-5396. Again, 702-257-5396. Jussie Smollett. We'll take your calls on the other side of the break. And why is Jeremy Roenick fired? Why was he fired from NBC? You're not going to believe it when I tell you. That and much more in your calls coming up next.